And welcome to the class of economics. So students, today we will start with chapter 9, that is supply, and this is first video or part 1 of the chapter supply, and these are the topics which we are going to finish, that is meaning of supply, individual and market supply, supply function, supply schedule and curve, law of supply and its exceptions. Now starting with meaning of supply, when we say supply, that means supply of goods and services, or we can call it supply of a particular quantity of a commodity in a market so that it will be able to sell, or we can call it refers to quantity of commodity that a firm is willing and able to offer for sale or able to supply at each possible price during a given period of time. In other words, supply is that part of stock which is actually brought into the market for sale. That means it is that part of stock which is produced by the owner, produced by the businessman, and which is ready to supply or offer in the market. So stock can never be less than supply. That means stock will never be less than supply. Whatever stock is there, if it is ready, then it is ready to sell or ready to supply in the market. For example, a seller has a stock of 50 tons of sugar in the godown or warehouse. If the seller is willing to sell only 30 tons, that means if a seller is having 50 tons or he has produced 50 tons of sugar which is available or which is kept in the warehouse or godowns, but if he is not ready to sell all 50 tons of sugar, instead he wanted to sell only 30 tons of sugar, so 30 tons of sugar will be the rate of or the quantity of supply, and at a price of rupees 37 per kg. So then supply of 30 tons is a part of total stock of 50 tons. That means from 50 tons of stock, only 30 tons of sugar or 30 tons of that particular quantity is ready for the supply in the market, for which the owner is willingly ready. Now difference between stock and supply. Stock is total quantity which is available with the producer at a particular point of time, and supply is that part of stock which is ready to supply at different levels of prices, and supply can never exceed stock. Now the determinants of individual supply, as supply is of two types, individual supply and market supply. So first we will move with determinants or factors which determines the individual supply. The first is price of the given commodity. That means price of that particular commodity which is offered in the markets. So there is a positive relationship or direct relationship between price and quantity which is supplied in the market. When price rises, the supply or also rises, and when price falls, supply is also falling. Second is price of other goods. Now here other goods can be substitute goods, other goods can be complementary goods. So supply also depends on prices of these other goods, that is substitute or complementary goods. Increase in price of any one good makes them more profitable for producer in comparison to the given commodity. So due to this, the firm can shift the resources from the production of given commodity to production of other goods. As a result, supply of given commodity will fall. Third is price of factors of production. When we say factors of production, means the inputs which is required for producing a particular commodity, or we can call this factor of production as land, labor, capital, entrepreneur, etc. So when prices of these factors of production or cost of input, example rise in wages, rent, then it will increase the cost of production. That means when owner is supposed to give more salary or wages to the factor of production, say for example labor, then cost of production or the expenses for production will also increase, which reduce the profitability of the owner or trader. As a result, firm will reduce the supply of that commodity, and if the price of factor reduces, it will increase the profitability, and the owner or the firm will increase the supply of that particular commodity in the market. Fourth can be state of technology. When we say technology, means it is the technique or methods of production. It can be labor intensive technique or it can be capital intensive technique. If there is improvement in the technology or upgradation of technology, it will reduce the cost of production. That means if technique is innovative, new, then it will reduce, production will increase, and it will reduce the expenses or cost production, which increases the profitability, and the firm will increase the supply. And when there is degradation, that means if the technology is very old, the producer or the firm is using old means of production or degraded technology, or outdated technology, it will increase the cost of production or its expenses, and the firm will have to reduce the supply of the commodity, or we can say the firm will reduce the production also. Why? Because he will not have profitability. Fifth is government policy. When the government raises or increases the tax rate, it will increase the cost of production. That means when a firm needs to give more taxes to the government, it will increase their expenses or cost of production, and the firm will reduce the supply. Why? Because due to less profit margin. And when government reduces the tax rates or gives subsidies to firms, it will become more profitable for the firms, and the firm will increase the supply of the commodity. Why? Because they will have more profit margin. Sixth is goals and objectives of the firm. If the goals of the firm is sales maximization, then it will increase the supply even at a very lower prices, as they will try to increase their sales volume and increase the market share, their goodwill, and also wanted to increase the customer by then. But if the objective of the firm is only profit maximization, not satisfaction of the customer, then it will increase the supply only at a higher prices or expensive prices of the product. Second is determinants of market supply. Just like we did determinants of individual supply, so it is determinants of market supply. So market supply is affected by, first, number of firms in the market. That means how many firms or how many competitors are available in the market. When the number of firms in the industry increases or in the market increases, market supply also increases due to large number of producers who are ready to produce or who are ready to sell their commodities in the market. However, competition will increase now. So market supply will decrease if some of the firms starts leaving the industry due to losses. That means if because of any losses which is bared by any of the firms, if they are leaving the market, then supply will also decrease. So they are having a positive relation. Second is future expectations regarding price. If seller expect that there will be rise in price in the market, because when price will rise in the market, then it will be gainful for the producer. So what he will do in near future, if he comes to know that price is going to increase for the product, so current market supply will decrease. That means he will reduce the supply in the market, just because in a hope that he will increase his profit margin when price will increase more, then only he will supply more quantity. However, if the seller fears, that means if he has any fear that the prices will be falling in the future, if prices will fall, then he will not be able to gain more. Instead, he will face losses. So they will increase the present supply to avoid losses in future. That means he will increase his supply more and more in the market and clear his stock, just because he come to know that the supply the prices will be falling in the future. Third is means of transportation and communication. Proper infrastructure, that means when we talk about transportation and communication, it is part of infrastructure facility which is provided to the producer. So proper infrastructure development, like improvement in the means of transportation and communication, which helps in maintaining the more supply or maintaining adequate supply of the commodity as per the rising demand. Now supply function, next topic, as we discussed individual and market supply. Now what is the function of supply? Basically it shows a relationship between quantity supplied for a commodity and the factors which influence it. The first is individual supply function. That means when individual supply is there, what is the function of it? It refers to functional relationship between supply and the factors which affect the individual supply of the commodity. It is expressed as supply of X commodity, say for example, is equal to F, that is functional relationship of price of X, then price of other goods, price of factors of production, state of technology, taxation policy, and objectives of the firm. So it can be expressed like this. We can get this kind of equation. Second is market supply function. It refers to functional relationship between market supply and the factors which affect the market supply of the commodity. As we know, market supply is affected by all the factors of production which are affecting the individual supply also. In addition, it is also affected by some other factors, like we can see the future expectations regarding price, number of firms in the market, a means of transportation and communication, which we have discussed in determinants of market supply. So we can get this kind of expression that is supply of X commodity in terms of market supply. It is functional relationship of price of X, price of other goods, supply, state of technology, taxation policy and objectives of the firm, N for number of firms or number of competitors in the market, then F for future expectations regarding price of given commodity, M means means of transportation and communication. So, supply schedule now. What is supply schedule? When we talk about schedule, it is in the kind of tabular form. So, supply schedule is a table showing various quantities of a commodities offered for sales corresponding to different possible prices of that commodity. So, supply schedule is again of two types, individual supply schedule and market supply schedule. When we talk about individual supply schedule, it refers to supply schedule of an individual firm in the market. Now, this is individual supply schedule where we can see the prices which are increasing 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50, and the quantity supply of good X, say for example it is, if it is good X, what we can see or what we can observe that the quantity of the commodity price is increasing, quantity of commodity is also increasing. That means the demand or supply of that quantity is also increasing. Why? Because both are having a positive or direct relation. If price will be increasing, the quantity which is supplied is also increasing, as we can see in the schedule. Now, market supply schedule, which refers to supply schedule of all the firms in the market. That means whomsoever, all the firms and producers who are participating in the market, whatever is supplied in the market, that will be called as market supply. That is supply of all the firms who are participating in the market, and it is obtained by adding all the individual supply. That means how we can get market supply? Participation of each and every firms, each and every single firms. So, when all firms, whatever they are supplying in the market, can be considered as market supply, which can be calculated as supply of M, that is market supply is supply of A firm, supply of B firm and so on. So, where supply of M, SM is the market supply, SA plus SB are the individual supply of various suppliers, supplier A, B, C, D and so on. These are all imaginary names only. Now, let us understand this derivation of market supply, assuming that there are only two producers. That means even in market supply we can see that there are a lot of firms, but for our understanding, for our convenience, we are taking only two kinds of firms, that is firm A and firm B. Now, market supply schedule, prices which are increasing, this is individual supply of firm A and firm B, and it is market supply. Now, here in market supply we can notice it is the addition of firm A and firm B, or supplier A and supplier B, and we need to add this and we will get the market supply. So, what we notice that price which is increasing, individual supply, the quantity which is supplied in the market, it is also increasing, and in supplier B, in case of that, it is also increasing. So, when we add both of them, what we notice that along with, if we see the price which is continuously increasing, the quantity which is offered in the market or supplied by all the firms or market supply, it is also increasing. Now, supply curve, when we talk about supply curve, like supply function, supply schedule, on the basis of schedule we can get the supply curve. So, supply curves refers to a graphical representation of supply schedule. So, it shows a direct relationship between price and quantity which is supplied, keeping all other factors constant. So, supply curve is again of two types, individual supply curve and market supply curve. First, we will refer to individual supply curve. It refers to a graphical representation of individual supply schedule, and with the help of this information given in supply schedule, we will see the table, and the supply curve for an individual firm can be drawn as this, like this is a supply curve of an individual supply, that is of firm A, any firm we can say. So, this is quantity supplied and this is price, and as we can see, as price is increasing, the quantity supply is also increasing. Okay. Now, we will get this kind of supply curve. So, in figure, this quantity supplied is taken on horizontal axis, and on vertical axis we are having the price of the commodities. At each possible price there is a quantity, that means which is to be offered or supplied in the market, which the firm is willing to sell. So, point A shows that 50 units are supplied at the price of rupees 10, then point B shows that 100 units are supplied at rupees 20 and so on. So by joining all the points from A to E, if we join all the points, we get a supply curve and which is positively sloped and which is upward sloped. Okay. Why it is upward sloping and why it is positive? Because the price of the commodity and the quantity supply is having direct relation. So the supply curve SS, this one, this is supply curve which is sloping upward due to positive relationship between price and quantity supplied. Now what is market supply curve? Same way as individual supply curve. In market supply curve, which is a graphical representation of market supply schedule in which all the firms are participating. So it is obtained by horizontal summation of all individual supply curves. Let us understand this graphically, that is when we convert the market supply schedule. Now as seen in the diagram, here in the diagram we can see on vertical axis we are having price of the commodity and on horizontal axis we are having quantity which is supplied in the market. Now this is supplier A, supplier B and this is market supply. So when we add the supplied quantity of firm A and firm B, we will get the market supply curve. Okay. Now as seen in the diagram, the quantity supplied is shown on horizontal axis and on vertical axis we are having the price. So market supply curve, that is SM, this curve, which is obtained by horizontal summation of supplier A and supplier B schedule. So market supply curve is also positively, now this market supply curve, it is also positively sloped due to positive relationship between price and quantity supply, same way like individual supply curve. Why? Because as price is increasing, for getting more and more profit margin, the quantity supplied by firm is also increasing. So market supply curve which is flatter, now we can see this market supply curve which is flatter than all individual supply curves. It happens because with a rise in price, the proportionate rise in market supply will be more than proportionate rise in individual supplies. That is why this market supply curve is flatter. Now what is law of supply? The next topic here. When we talk about law, it states that there is positive or direct relationship between price and quantity supplied, provided other factor must remain constant. Now there are certain assumptions of this law of supply, that means those factors which should be constant, that there is no change in technology. That means technology are of two types, upgraded and degraded. So whatever technology is adopted by the firm, it should not change. There is no change in government policies. Price of other goods, that is substitute or complementary goods, remain same. Price of factors of productions remain same and price goals of producers remain same. So if all this thing applies as an assumption, then we can have law of supplies, otherwise we will not have law of supply. Now reasons for this law of supply, why it is there. The first is profit motive, that is the main aim of all the producer is to make more gains, more profit or maximize profit. When price rise without any change in cost, it raises the profit and producers increase the supply. That means whenever the price is increasing but cost of production is not increasing, then they will increase their supply in the market. Why? Because to get more and more profit. And when price falls, they will reduce their supply. Why? Because due to less profit margin there. Change in number of firms. That means when there is a rise in price, more producers are influenced or are induced to enter into the market just because to have more and more gain. So whenever price of particular commodity rises, there will be more firms who are entering into the market to offer their goods just because of more profit. So it will increase the market supply, and when the prices falls, the firms will leave the market. Many of the firms will leave the market. Why? Because they will not get enough profit margin or they cannot maximize their profit. Why? Because prices are falling. Then change in stock. When price rises, sellers are ready to supply more goods from their stock. Due to fall in prices, they tend to reduce or start keeping the stock in their godowns or warehouses. They will not be ready to sell that or supply that into the market. Why? Because at that time when prices are falling, they will not get much profit. Now there are certain exceptions to law of supply. Exceptions means these points or these conditions do not apply on law of supply. Okay. Future expectations regarding price. If sellers expect that there will be rise in price in near future, then they will reduce the market supply. They will keep all the goods in their godowns or in the stock only, and they will wait for the time when prices will increase, because then only they will get more and more profit, because they would want to raise supply when price rises. Then second can be agricultural goods. That is, in case of agricultural or perishable goods, the law of supply does not apply here. Why? Because their production depends on climatic conditions, and these goods are of perishable natures like vegetables and fruits. So their supply cannot be increased even at higher prices, and if weather conditions are not good for crops. So this exception does not apply on law of supply. Then same way as I talked about agricultural goods, it's perishable goods also coming into this category. In case of fruits and vegetables, sellers are ready to sell more even if prices are falling. Why? Because these are perishable goods. The nature of these goods are perishable. They cannot keep it in stock for a long period of time. Otherwise, they will have to bear losses. So, as they cannot be stored for a longer period, they need to release or they need to supply this even if prices are falling. Then rare articles. Rare means unique or exceptional articles. So, law of supply does not apply in case of rare and precious articles like famous paintings, personalities, unique items, unique rare precious gems, stones, etc. Even when price is rising, still they will supply, the firm will supply more and the demand will be raising in the market. So, these exceptions does not apply on law of supply. So, thank you student, this is all about today's video. We will meet again in the next video. Thank you.